In this video, we'll look at several of the tools you'll find here in the CodeSpace text editor. Many of these tools you already know, things like copy and paste. You use those in emails and documents every day. A few of the tools are specific to writing code. You'll find these tools in any code editor you may use, so they're definitely worth learning. The first skill to master is highlighting text. Maybe you want to highlight and move a few lines of code in your program, or maybe you want to highlight the entire program, copy and paste it into an email. It all starts with highlighting text. So how do you do that? One way, line 13 here, left click at the beginning of the text and drag the mouse or touchpad across to select the text you want. That's one way. Another way is to left click at the beginning of the text. That sets the cursor there at the beginning of line 11. And then move the cursor to the end of the text, hold the shift key down, and left click on the mouse or keypad. There we go. Some very useful ways you may not have known. You can double click on a word and it'll highlight the entire word. You can triple click and it'll highlight the entire line, or you can quadruple click and it'll highlight the entire document. Go ahead and pause the video and practice selecting text. See if you can get a couple of lines from beginning to end. Try getting single words, or maybe just a couple of letters in a word. You'll be doing this a lot, so might as well practice. Now that you have some highlighted text, what can you do with it? That's where the editor tools come in. Things like copy, paste. There are tools for find and replace. You can find a list of the most common tools in the edit menu up here at the top. Left click on edit and you'll see a list of the most common tools. And there's copy, paste, find and replace. You can activate these tools right here using this menu, but they have keyboard shortcuts that you can use instead. That way you don't have to take your fingers off the keyboard to use the mouse or the touchpad. If you forget a keyboard combination for these tools, open up the edit menu and they're listed right here on the right. For instance, I'm making an animated heartbeat on my codex. I want to copy lines 3 and 4 and paste them underneath and change the second heart to small heart. Let's see, I'll grab the text here and I can go to the menu, edit, and copy. I want it to go here at line 5, edit, paste, and change heart to small. I could do it that way. That's a lot of mouse activity, a lot of touchpad if you're on a Chromebook. An easier way is to use the keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to highlight the text again, and I'm going to press Control, hold it down, and press C. Now I've copied those lines into my buffer. Control, hold it down, and press V, that's paste. Press Control V again, and I can paste in several copies just like that. Much easier. That's the copy tool and the paste tool. Did you already know how to use those? If you didn't, or if you forget the keyboard shortcuts, click on the edit menu and there's the list of common tools and their shortcuts. If you want even more detail, hopefully you picked up the tool in your toolbox. Let's open the toolbox. And under CodeSpace there is Editor Shortcuts. Here's all about copy, paste, cut, undo. We'll look at these next. Undo is probably the editor tool I use the most. You're writing code, you have an idea, oh, I need to delete this line of code, and I need to change this to another name. And maybe while I'm typing, the cat jumps on my keyboard. and I realize, oh no, I didn't mean to make those changes. I want to undo those changes. From the Edit menu, there is the Undo tool. It changes the last thing that you did back to the way it was. It undoes those changes. And the editor keeps a list of all the changes that you've made, and every time you undo, it works back through the list to undo all the changes. Control Z is the shortcut. Remember, I changed last index. What did I do before that? Control Z. Oh yeah, I deleted line 12. But wait a minute, I actually wanted to delete line 12. How can I undo the undo? Well, there is a redo. Edit, redo, Control Y. If I press Control Y, it will redo, removing that line. So that's undo and redo. I use those a lot. What if I wanted to move line 17 up to line 5? How could I do that? Well, I could select this text. I did a triple click, and I could copy it with Control C, go up to line 5, and Control V to paste it. But then I still have the original down here at 17 I have to delete. An easier way is to use the Cut tool. Cut is like copy. It copies text that you have selected into its internal buffer, and you can paste that somewhere else. But Cut removes it from its original location. So I've got that text selected. I Control X. It goes into the buffer, but it also comes out of the document. Now up here on line 5, I Control V and paste it in. Cut saves you the extra step of deleting the original. The Find tool lets you search your code document for a particular word or phrase. Let's say that I want to know all the places where the word heart is used in my code. I will go to Edit, and the Find tool lets use the shortcut Control F, Control F, and it brings up an input field here, and I'm going to type in heart. The Find tool says there's 3 occurrences of this in my file, and it automatically positions my cursor on the first one. I can click the up and down arrows to move to the other occurrences, like down. There's the next one. There's the last one, and it wraps back around to the first. That lets you quickly find things in your file. Let's say I want to know all the places where I'm using pics, the pictures. P-I-C-S. Looks like there are 9 occurrences. Here's the first one. Step backwards. There's the last one. Step back up through the file. So that's find. My teacher just pointed out that I misspelled choice. I was consistent. I spelled it incorrectly in several places, and I want to change all of those places to the correct spelling. Is there an easy way to do that? Well, there's the Find and Replace tool. From Edit, Replace is Control H. So I'm going to press Control H. That brings up the same Find, but it's got an extra field for Replace. So I want to find choice, C-H-I-O-C-E. There are 5 of those, and I want to change it to C-H-O-I-C-E. The buttons here on the side give me a couple of ways to do that. The first one, I can replace just the current line. That's line 9. Notice that the number of occurrences went from 5 to 4. I can also change everything at once with this icon, Replace All. And that looked through the whole document and replaced everything. That's Replace, Find and Replace. I've been adding things to my list, and I've about decided that all of these should be indented to the right one time to make things easier to read. How can I move all of those over easily? Well, I could go to line 12 and tab, and then line 13 and tab. I could do them one by one, or I can highlight the whole list and hit the tab key. That moves everything over. Again. Shift tab moves it to the left. That's where I want it. You'll find this very useful. Like, let's say I took out the while loop on 23. I need to move everything that was in the while loop left, one indentation. Highlight everything, Shift tab, moves to the left. Select, tab to move to the right, Shift tab to move to the left. This happens frequently when you're coding. You've got a lot of code and you want to temporarily remove part of it just for testing. Let's say I want to remove lines 6 through 30. I don't want to delete and take it out of my code because I'm going to put it back later. I just want to temporarily remove it. I want to comment it out. I want to put the comment character in front of every line. I could go through and do that one by one, but there's an editor tool. Edit, toggle, line, comment. Look at that. It put the £, the comment character, in front of every line. And you can toggle it again to put it back. What was the shortcut? Control/. There we go. Control/ to comment out. Control/ to comment back in. Very useful. Those are the most common editor tools. They'll save you a lot of time. If you forget them, you can right click in the editor. That's 2-finger click if you're on a mouse pad. And here's cut, copy, and paste. Or you can left click and edit and see a list of tools and their keyboard shortcuts. You'll use the keyboard shortcuts most of the time. And if you really want to get fancy, right click in the editor and look at the command palette. Press F1 anytime. This is a list of tools and their shortcuts. I'll leave it to you to explore this list on your own.